I want you to get together.
Yeah, it's good
Especially
stuff.
with the Iliad or the Ejo, whatever. Um, Not many people mention that.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've never been an expert in Bigfoot stuff, really. It's not even when I was like in the early days when I started in like 2012. It
Yeah,
never interested me. You know what I mean? The whole Bigfoot stuff. I always thought it was like mainstream conspiratainment. They kind of want you looking at that stuff. They don't really want you looking any deeper.
yeah,
Hey, like it's just silly, you know. There's quite a weird cult around it, you know. So I never really bothered to look into any of it. But people kept sending me stuff as I did the clown
Mm,
research about it, and then I discovered the wildman traditions of Europe and its roots
yeah,
in the clown, you know, and literally in Harlequin. So I kind of had to start looking into it. And in my book, I did an exploration where I went to every continent and every country. I just found every example I could find of big hairy beast men, and they're
yeah,
everywhere. They're all over the
yeah,
place.
yeah,
They
yeah.
literally covered
yeah.
the whole earth. And it's kind of like these aren't the Nephilim as I understand with my clown research. There's something else. But I couldn't help but
Some,
noticing they all had magical powers,
right?
which is odd. They had odd magical powers like reality bending, mind control
Yeah.
powers, and the ability to
Yeah.
be both physical and spiritual at the same time. And I was thinking the only thing that could have that kind of power has to be angelic in nature. It must have Nephilim.
Different type of offspring.
Yeah, it's something else, but they're not the Nephilim necessarily. When I discovered in
Mm,
Jubilees and Jasher and all these extra books and in Enoch that the Nephilim had children and they were called the Eliud
mm,
and the Elio, and there's different, they went down, you know, and then there's the Nephil as well. So there's the Nephil and the
mm,
Elio, different iterations. It kind of makes sense that actually, you know,
Yeah.
hairiness was also a trait of Cain.
right?
He was known as the Hairy Cain, which is another word you get
Yeah.
Harlequin from as well. Funnily enough, the Hairy Cain. You know,
Mm,
that's from the Irish understanding of Cain. They call him the Hurricane,
right.
which means Hairy Cain, which is Harlequin again. You know, so and then
Yeah.
Helikins, the giants of France, this hairy
Right.
beast man. So it's possible that Cain's lineage brought that hairiness
And
into the bloodline. You know, which is where you
right.
get
Makes
these,
sense, doesn't it?
yeah, well, you get these lesser iterations, which aren't the
Right.
psychedelic serpent human hybrids like the Nephilim, but these hairy traits started, the more human side traits started to come through with the grandchildren of the Nephilim, you know, which is probably where you get Bigfoot from.
Yeah.
And they maintain those angelic abilities of mind reading and mind bending and putting fear into people by being in their presence and being able to teleport and do odd things, you know. And the Bigfoot
Yeah.
have all of those things. They're not just big hairy apes. They're like every description is like a mystical being of some kind,
Right.
which is in 9 dimensions, something like that. Very
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
odd. And I didn't know it went that deep until, you know, I thought they were just people have seen ape men or something. You know, I thought it was very physical, but there's a highly spiritual nature to the Bigfoot, which I just was not aware of initially, and
Right.
it fits into the story I've told perfectly. You know, it fits into
Um.
the biblical narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got Esau as well, who's
Yes.
had
Oh
hair
yeah,
all over
strawberry.
him
Yeah.
and red hair all over him. You know.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
you have to wonder, does throughout all of humanity and history, do these traits, these Nephilim corruptions, just manifest every now and then
Mm.
in random places like Esau? Jacob wasn't like that.
Well.
His brother, you
Yeah.
know,
Interestingly, my family has a genetic issue of being born with 6 fingers and 6 toes.
that is interesting.
Yeah,
Right.
this is one of the reasons I've gone down this trail
Yeah.
so deeply, you know?
Well, is that why you
Yeah.
were very interested in the my take on whether or not we should point out people with the Nephilim blood or not?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well,
And yeah, it's a great answer though, because I mean, realistically, it's all just hearsay, you know?
well, absolutely. But even if it is the case, I do think we may all have a little bit in us.
All
And
right,
I
right.
think it's possible
Yeah.
the reason we have sickness and disease is because we're all corrupted by this genetic corruption somehow. You
Mm,
know, I think
mm,
God's original perfect creation didn't have these
right.
degrading.
Adiman.
yeah, I don't think we were so degraded, you know, and we died so quickly, and our bodies rotted from the inside, and we didn't
Right.
get parasitic infections and diseases so quickly. And I think that's all Nephilim corruption. I think we all have
Mm,
it in us to some level. And again, every now and then it'll manifest with people just have crazy stuff like tails and extra fingers
right.
or horns
Right.
or something. Something
Yeah.
will just happen, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like it's that genetic corruption really coming through hard, you know, in
Yeah.
some obscure cases. And you
It's
know,
questionable.
it is, but again,
For sure.
I'm not looking to point fingers at anybody myself
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
but even like I said, the interesting case of Esau and Jacob. Jacob was just a
Mm,
perfectly normal man.
Right.
Why wasn't Esau? Why was he so different? You know?
And he was more lascivious. He was into the earthly pleasures. He was,
Yeah,
he was a predator being the hunter. He was, lots of the same characteristics.
exactly.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
the proto wild man. He was like one of the first examples
Yeah.
of a wild man. You know, which is where these traditions and mythoses come from in Europe. I also do think there were literally big hairy men in the woods, like
Mm.
Bigfoot style, harassing a lot of people during the medieval period as well. I think they did continue into the modern age. Even today, you know, the cryptid phenomena is alive and well.
Oh, yeah.
People are seeing strange hybrid human monster creatures all over the place all the time. It never
Right.
ends,
Yeah.
and it's because they never left. They're still here,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And I think from that story in Ecuador I told you about the Canary people, some of them did make it through past the flood. Because if you think about it, you know, if you
Mm.
know a flood's coming, it might be wise to mix yourself with a fish.
Yeah.
You know, it might be wise to learn how to fly pretty quickly and mix yourself with
Merfolk.
mix yourself with a bird so you can ride it out above the water and then rest on
Yeah.
top of the water
Yeah.
once it
Yeah.
sails. You know, it might be really wise to find out how you can hibernate underground for a long time without food
Mm.
or water. You know, well, mix yourself with an animal, and that's where you get all these crazy creatures from today that are left over that probably made it
That are
through. You know,
slowly
Yeah.
fading
Yeah.
out.
well,
Brilliant.
exactly. And I
Yeah,
think.
gentlemen.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So sorry. I'm gonna have to go because I have to close this soon. And Nico has to get some
That
bits.
was that was great, Paul. I appreciate it, Lee.
Yes.
I hope you guys have a great day.
Yes. Yes,
Absolutely.
you too, mate. Paul, he said, thank you very much, sir.
No problem, Lee. It's great talking to you. Thank you.
For sure.
Nice, you
Enjoy the
too,
day,
mate.
Paul.
Yeah, see you again.
Nice one, lads.
All right.
Bye. Bye, Robbie. Bye, mate. Bye. Bye.
I want you to get together